Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. On today's episode, I have the honor of sitting down with the hilarious actor and comedian Jamie Kennedy, who is gonna come on and we're gonna talk about all things Hollywood, what he's up to, comedy, COVID, where the hell we think the world's going, if the aliens are going to come invade, and what could be next. So this should be a fun, interesting episode. I'm excited for it. So with that being said, I'm going to bring on my guest, Jamie Kennedy. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing, Madison? An honor. Wow, that's very nice of you.
Yeah, no, I am. This was absolutely, I'm very excited to have you on. But you're in California and it's pretty locked down right now for the second time. How are you hanging in there?
Well, I mean, I guess it's more locked down when I saw you. You know, we were doing a really cool show.
Yeah.
We were performing at pools together. Yeah, we do a lot of pool work.
Yeah.
And which, geez, it's kind of funny when you say I long for the days of pools. But I had a couple shows, but they got canceled. So pretty much it's more restricted than when you were here. You can go to the grocery store. You can get your food for takeout. You know, you can work out at home. And then that's about it. I mean, the thing is, it's like I don't really follow so much of the news, but even in my feeds now, I'm just getting like, the virus is everywhere, record. And I'm like, so I just try to go out, work out. I do my stuff around my house. I'm doing a lot of fixing up and I'm doing stuff I normally wouldn't do, but I guess it's a little crazy. And then added on all the other craziness. It's crazy.
Yeah. So what is your opinion on COVID? Have you been nervous about it or just kind of, I'm going to stay healthy and live my life?
I would say I was definitely nervous. I definitely was one of those people that was like, I didn't know. And, you know, I'm relatively young and relatively fit, but I do have like little things that I don't know if they would go with it or not. But you know, I meet different people and they're like, you know, getting the sun. So I started doing that. I started taking a lot of vitamins.
Yeah.
And I work out and then you know, and someone like you, I worked with you, you know, you were like, look, dude, this is what you gotta do. And you were
Yeah.
pretty adamant about, you know, like just try to stay healthy. You weren't like denying it or anything. You were just like, just be active, dude, eat healthy and blah blah blah. So am I less paranoid? Yes. But then like these new news cycles come around and you're like, what's the deal? And then I talked to a few nurses. I've interviewed some nurses that are friends of mine. And they told me a lot of facts about what they see. My sister also is in your hood and works at the VA. She tells me what she sees in Colorado.
Okay.
And but I'm careful, and you know, I think then I started thinking I might have had it. I think I had it before it was supposed to be here. That's why I'm confused, because I think I had it in December. I was deathly ill a year ago.
Oh,
Not deathly, but like something I had never felt in my body before.
did you get the antibody test?
No, because I was going to, and my doctor's like, after 3 months, you can't really tell. And then my doctor was like, don't get a test unless you have symptoms. And so I will say, horrifically sick, early December 2019, 3 days, then boom, back to work. And it was like from a gig to a gig to a gig.
Uh-huh.
And I was horribly sick in the Denver airport, actually.
Oh
Horribly sick,
God.
right by that Caribou Coffee. And like, I just made it perfectly to a bathroom. It was, you know, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. And then I came home, and honestly, this is, you knock on wood, I've been feeling great for the last year, except for like bouts of like what I think are probably like a little bit of anxiety, but not terrible. But like, other than that, healthy. But last year I traveled to 5 different continents, and maybe, who knows?
Yeah, you don't know. So you could have gotten it, but luckily you were fine.
But it wasn't supposed to be at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what are you doing to stay healthy now? Are you taking those vitamins like I told you?
I take the zinc, I take the D, I take the C, I do the C, I take
Yeah.
a multi, I take the omegas for the brain, CoQ10.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's it. I do collagen, I drink bone broth, I work out, I follow this internet workout plan. I do like 5 different things a week. And I go to golf. You know,
Oh,
that's the only
nice.
thing that's open, and
Yeah.
people, it's like air is fresh. It's
Yeah.
pretty still nice here. Everyone's calling LA like the germ factory, but it's good because there's less people here.
Yeah.
And then I just work around the house. I've been doing like what you're doing. You know, I'm really trying to build up my online because I think this is where we're going to be for a while.
Yeah, it is. I know it's a crazy thing. I keep thinking that, we're going to be out of this, and I mean, I thought we'd be out of it in June, but now I'm thinking
I
we're gonna be out
understand
of
why though. I understand why though.
but now I think maybe it'll be June that we'll actually be out of it. So the question is like, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. Are you going to get the vaccine?
Why wouldn't I answer that?
I
Um,
don't know. Some people are don't want to answer it.
um, Let me answer this with you. Are you cray cray? I ain't getting that vaccine.
Me
Hell
either.
no. It takes 25 years to develop a vaccine, but here's one we did in 9 months. There you go. Take that. Put
Hmm.
that right in your left butt cheek.
Hmm.
You can't even say this, by the way. You got to edit this part out because they'll ban you, man. But I mean, you can, but I'm just telling you, I did a vaccine video and the YouTube would monetize it. So yeah, I'm not getting that vaccine.
Well,
And I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
no,
I
right.
just think there's just too much. There's too much, fuckery about it. There's too much weird shit.
Well, the other thing too is like it's so new, right? And you are hearing side effects about it. And the second thing is this virus has such a high survival rate. It'd be different if it was a 50-50 shot between, living or dying. It'd be different. People would be lining up to get this vaccine. So what scares me is the whole thing about you're hearing this talk of, oh, you're going to have to get the vaccine to travel to different countries or to get on an airplane. And as soon as you put the word mandatory in there, that's when people freak out.
Yeah. See, like I said, I talked to this nurse. He's a young guy. He's a relative, very fit guy. Um, and he's literally on the front lines from day one. And he's like, look, this person had diabetes. This person was 100 pounds overweight. This person had, a lung issue. Like he tells me, and it's like the news never says, a person with 3 comorbidities died today, and it's all terrible. It's all terrible, but they don't tell you that. So obviously the fear is ramped up. I'm not saying, a normal, healthy 15-year-old can't get it and have problems. Yes, they can. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But going to what you're saying, um, yeah, you've never heard as many rumors in my lifetime, I'm sure yours too, as to all this stuff.
Yeah.
And definitely there's going to be a vaccine passport. And I'm just grateful that I've seen the world because I don't know if we're going to be able to fly again. And I like boats.
Yeah. No.
But I'm wondering, how can I even go to Arizona? If I drive to Arizona, there are going to be people at the border going, yo, let me see your passport. It could get like that.
But don't you think there's going to be enough backlash because so many people are against it?
Of
That
course. So
it's
you're gonna have this, what we're seeing, man. You're gonna definitely see that. And I think unfortunately it's gonna come down to we have to pick a side. And I don't want to blow up your spot or anything, as we say, but you and I have had conversations, even though we don't really know each other, and we say, well, we can't say this, you can't say that. That's the world we're in right now, where you have to kind of share whispers to each other at a comedy club in the back. And it's like, because if you even say anything remotely off target, you're like, looked upon as a certain way. So
well,
I think there's going to be backlash, but whoever has the power is going to control it.
yeah. So my last episode last week, I had a woman who has a business. She's worked for the Federal Reserve. She's friends with Janet Yellen,
Ooh.
who's on Biden's new administration. She runs a diversity company. Okay. And what's important is companies will hire her, or governments will hire her, and she basically coaches them on how diversity is so important to the government or to profitability of businesses. So we're getting into that. And when you hear diversity, you're thinking, okay, having men and women, having different cultures, having different races. That's what you're thinking, right? But she was also saying, well, diversity is everything. It's diversity of thought. If one company only had liberals, it would fail. Or if it only had Republicans, it would fail, because you have to have that diversity of everything. And so that's an interesting question. Like in Hollywood, it's very, very left and very liberal, but it doesn't seem to be that diversity they're looking for. You see diversity of races being cast into movies, which is amazing, right? But what about the diversity of thought? What do you think about that? you know?
Come on, man. Good luck with that. You know the answer. It's like, I'm not a political person, but I became one over the last 4 years, which I think probably a lot of us do. I
Yeah.
was just happy to make you laugh, to do a scene, to make you think, oh, that's cool, to do funny talk show appearance. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
like there for you to escape, and maybe you tell me if you liked something I did. That was my function. Um, and then as you get older and your comedy gets deeper, you want to, like, put some messages out there, which I've been doing. But the now I feel like we're in this place where everybody has to, like, kind of pick a side. And the diversity of thought is a great question.
Yeah.
Um, it's not here. I mean, listen, you're talking about a town where I don't even want to say the name because I want to work, but it's like, even like, who knows what work is going to be like. You're talking about a town where where people have, there was an actress that wanted a name of every person that voted for Trump, or
What?
like went to a Trump fundraiser, and then she would not have them be able to work. Yeah, that's a true thing.
I mean, that's
So
so crazy. I don't care what side's doing it. If you're on the Republican side,
exactly,
I'm in
it's
the
like,
middle,
look,
you know?
yeah, I'm with you. I believe I'm a centrist, like you're a centrist, but it's like, now that is being pushed to, oh, are you right? Are you this? You're that? No, there's tons of stuff I like on the left, and tons of stuff I think that the right does that I like. So I don't know if it's tons, maybe like some and some. Let's say that. And I think that you can't even say that in Hollywood. You can't even
Yeah.
say that. I'm saying this. I feel more comfortable going to Oklahoma and saying a liberal thought
Yeah.
and being judged, but them going, well, I don't believe that, but okay, all right. You mean you're one of them Hollywood people, but okay, I can see that. As opposed to saying something that might skew a little right in the middle of, Brentwood. You know what I'm saying? I'd be more
Yeah.
scared to say something a little bit more right in Brentwood than I would something a little left in Oklahoma.
So why do you think Hollywood became so, so left to where you couldn't even have a different thought to be in the club? How did it, how did that happen?
It's really good questions, Madison.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, that's a slippery slope, so I got to answer it carefully because, like, everyone takes everything the wrong way. But I think in basic terms, it has to do with it has to do, how can I say this in the way that I try to way phrases? Well, it has to do with identity politics. It
Okay.
has to do with gender politics. It has to do with sexual orientation. It has to do with um it has to do with uh I would say, how can I say it? Like, overcompensation, and I don't mean that the wrong way. What I'm trying to say is like, if okay, here's an example. Chick-fil-A is religious, has these beliefs, and I guess there was something in there that was anti-homosexual.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay. Okay. So Chick-fil-A doesn't open on Sunday, so that's like a, a religious thing. But I did used to do a joke that I was introduced to Chick-fil-A by a gay man who was a producer, and he gave me this, and he goes, "Now dip that sauce into it." And I'm like, "What is that?" He goes, "That's the Chick-fil-A sauce. Don't you fucking tell anybody. I fucking eat Jesus fucking." Like he literally, I was introduced by Chick-fil-A as a gay guy. He goes, "Don't tell anybody I'm eating this. I will never give this up." And I mean, like, so basically, there was a time that if you ate Chick-fil-A, you were like anti-gay, and it's like,
Right.
no, you're not. You just like the chicken sandwich. And there are gay people that work there, and there are gay people that like it, and there are gay people that eat it.
Right.
So I think like it became like this one size fits all. And I think that it's just not that way. There's tons of nuance that isn't being addressed. And I think that Hollywood was, tended to be male, white, controlled and originated, you know what I mean, whether it was Jewish or goyim, if you will, but they were like a white male thing, and there was women working on it. I've worked with women directors on TV and stuff, much more TV than film, some film, but more TV women directors.
Okay.
But there wasn't as many as men. I've worked with black directors in TV, but not film, but there's more in TV. But again, it was never even.
Right.
So there was definitely a lack there. And I think what happened is how can I say this again if I'm making sense? It has to happen and it should happen. But there's two things. Let's be real. The narrative is right now the left is more forgiving and open than the right. The problem is if you question anything the left does, you're the devil. And so
Right.
I think that if you follow, Hollywood also follows the money. Say this what you want, and the narrative is more left at the moment. So if they don't want to piss off the money, and if the money is putting it into that, they're going to do that. But it's the issue is it's so not. It's just like with the swath of a pen, you're
Right.
this, and that's just crazy. That's just crazy. So I don't know how it got that way, and because a lot of people that they're talking about, like different genders and races and stuff, if you have conversations with them or sexualities, they're much more open-minded than
Yes.
the policies that are for them, meaning that they are not as strict as the people pushing it. So it's like, who's pushing this thing of like non-forgiveness or whatever, if you will.
Right. Well, you do see, I mean, they call it hypocrisy, you kind of see it where there's a lot of celebrities that are posting very hateful things.
Oh,
Uh,
the worst.
but
The
if they
worst.
were on the other side, they would be canceled, just buried. So it's a little bit of hypocrisy. Nobody should be putting hate speech out there. It's disgusting. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, but somehow one side can get away with it and the other side can't.
There's something about, yeah, I don't know why celebrities, and I don't want to name names because I still work in this business. I mean,
Right.
but it's like, but it is. There's just some people that's the problem is they're so smug and so arrogant, and I really want to punch them in their face. I
Yeah.
would love to ball up my fist and just like they really don't know what the fuck is going on in the world. They haven't been to the middle of the country to do a comedy club,
Yeah.
or in a while or ever, and they just are like, here's what it is, and I'm going to dismiss you. And those people deserve a kick in the balls because that's just making the problem worse. Okay.
Oh,
The
yeah.
problems, the problems that are happening on the right, you have to fix. And they're obviously big issues, but there's something about the right. Here's what it is. Here's what I would say. See if I'm making sense. Is that it's like this, like Mitch McConnell. I don't even know enough about politics. Here we go. So like you got Mitch McConnell, talk like this, it's like a turtle or whatever, and he's like, and then people will just make fun of him, right?
Yeah.
And you can make fun of him. Well, that's an easy target because it's like you're making fun of a baby. He's defenseless. He has no humor. He has no third eye. So it's a joke. Obviously, he's this thing. But someone on the left, if you make fun of them, you're like an asshole. But it's like, go after a harder target. Does that make sense?
No, it makes complete sense. I mean, a lot of people, I think, equally dislike Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. So I'm hearing some unity on that. There was also unity about the mayor of New York City, which is de Blasio. No matter what side of the spectrum you were on, everybody hated him. And so I was like, that's the one thing I really love about de Blasio is he's actually like provided some unity. I mean, it's unity of hatred for him, but at least it's unity, And that like
there's a smugness I meant to say and I feel like the right is I almost feel for some of the people more, obviously not all of them, and there's a lot of bad shit on there, but because they don't have the wit of the left.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm just wondering who's going to, I think they already had the guy that was going to play Biden on SNL. But the thing that I think is so funny is Alec Baldwin, who played Trump for the past 4 years, right? Got this nice paying, consistent job, okay? But he hates him. And I'm like, wait a second, like, but at least Alec Baldwin's out of a job. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's like a catch-22. He was like, "Oh, I hate this guy," but yet I'm getting employed consistently because of it. But now he's out of work.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fascinating why. I don't know. It's such a touchy subject. I'm scared to talk about it, but it's like,
well, you're a moderate, and so am I. So it's like we're talking about.
It's like why do people? A lot of people that hate Trump, like in Hollywood, used to fuck with him when he was a reality star.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he had one of the highest rated reality shows, and
TV shows.
Do you
He
watch
would be at the end. He'd be at the NBC upfronts, and he'd mingle with everybody, and
Yeah.
they were cool with him then.
Well, this is what I think. I think when all the heat blows over, I think that, I mean, there's got to be Hollywood studios that are just lined up to bring him back on TV or set up his network or do something or get his book deal. I mean, it's like these people hated him, but they're going to be right up his ass.
Yeah, I know. It's fascinating. I mean, it's a whole, it's a thing. It's like, how do you even talk about it calmly without people like judging you? Or I don't know what I am. I believe I'm in the middle.
Yeah,
But
right.
you can't say that anymore. Is
Oh,
that a moderate? Is that what a
you can't
moderate
say
is?
that anymore?
I just not here. It's so bizarre. But I'm seeing that so imagine if the creative pool is this,
Okay.
right? Because of the Madisons of the world and everyone else, the pool is still this, but people are creeping in through YouTube. They're creeping in through Roku. They're creeping in through Spotify, and they're taking people's attention away more and more. So Hollywood is still operating and it's still doing its thing, but more and more people are just doing their own thing, and it's becoming its bubble. But I think its bubble is shrinking. And
Yeah.
listen, I love Hollywood, but it's like it's just polarizing too many people, and it's too what's the word, preachy.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, it's meant to entertain us. But let's switch gears and talk about your Hollywood career, because you've had a successful career. You've been in a lot of great movies that people know. What was your favorite movie that you were in?
It's like hard. That's like picking your baby, picking your little. I'm sorry, I had coffee on my beard. I should shave at some point.
Like your COVID beard, right?
Well, like I've been working out and stuff, and so I feel like I'm gonna take like I'm losing weight, and I'm just gonna, and when everything comes off, it's gonna be an unveiling.
Great,
Um,
there you go. Well, be careful with the beards. I'm sure you're very sanitary and you wash it every day. I'm going to tell you a gross statistic that I
oh, are
read.
you
So
serious?
they said one of the most common places for feces to be is in a man's beard. Because what they would do is they'd wipe their ass. I'm not kidding. It was like in a health magazine. Not saying that that's you. Like you wash it all the time and you don't wipe your ass and
Do
touch your face.
but do people what do people wash their hands after they wipe their tush? And are they wiping their tush with their bare hand? What are we talking about here?
I'm not sure, but they said like there was a lot of like in longer beards, but it can trap bacteria and stuff. So I might see you next week without a beard, but
That's probably more ZZ Top beer, but thanks for that update. Jesus Christ. Um, hey, there's a lot of shit in your beard. What? It's not even that bad. God Almighty.
do you remember when guys used to grow just this right here?
Yeah, that's very 90s.
What was it
Very
called?
90s.
What they call it? The flavor saver?
I think so. Yeah.
So gross, but so awesome and funny.
Ew, it's so disgusting. Ew, I never really have facial hair, just a little bit, but in between gigs, and then since none of us have been really working, just let it go.
Right.
Um, my favorite movie, it's too hard, but I would say like Malibu's was a fun one to make because it was kind of like my baby, and I kind of helped
Yeah.
create it.
Oh, fun. What was your
Yeah.
what was your first movie? It wasn't Scream, was it?
No, my first movie was Romeo and Juliet. That was like my first studio movie. I did a little independent movie before that, and some guest TV spots, but it was Romeo and Juliet. And then from there, I got Scream, and then the ball started rolling for me.
Yeah. So it's you've been very blessed then.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was struggling for a while, and then I was doing stand-up comedy, and then through that, I started, getting like, it used to be different. Like commercial agents would come to the clubs, and I met a commercial agent, and then I got a commercial agent, and then slowly got a commercial, and a lot of stuff came out of the comedy world, and then
Yeah.
casting directors would come to the club, and then I'd get to audition for something, and I got like one line, and then that led to another audition. So the early comedy club scene was very good to me. It was like I wasn't getting a lot of spots, but they would have these showcase nights, and people would come, and they liked you. You'd be able to start from there, and
Yeah.
it's such a different, and then you get into this ecosystem, and you get into movies, and you're going, but it's just a different world now. And now it's a different world, and I don't know
Totally.
what it's going to be, but I don't really rely on anyone. I kind of just love making my own stuff. I'm really trying to
Yeah.
build up my YouTube channel, and there's a ton of streaming apps now like Tubi and Roku and Amazon Prime, and the money's different, but if you're consistent, it can work, and
Yeah.
you're in control, and that's what it is. Because I just hate waiting on people to bless you. You know what I mean? I hate
Well,
that.
yeah. They always say if you're waiting around for somebody to give you permission, you'll be waiting the rest of your life.
Ooh, I
So
like
it's
that.
like just get out there and do it, even if you have to pivot gears, or
Hmm.
change, or I always tell people it's important to stay. You can have a goal in what you want to do, but also stay open minded because that thing could lead you to something else. For example, you know, I'm dealing with a lot of production companies and working on different projects, but I ended up having coffee with somebody to talk about that, and it ended up pivoting into a technology conversation. And I was also interested in that. So it opened up another opportunity. So if I had just been so narrow minded and just said, no, it's just for this, it's just for this, instead of listening and kind of grasping where other opportunities can come in, so
Yeah,
so for
totally.
that. You just never know. You could be meeting somebody for a movie or a comedy show, but they introduce you to a new crypto, and then all of a sudden you're rolling in dough or something like that. So it's always being open minded.
I'm so with you. It's all about, ideas and getting information. I'm so with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you think comedy is going to look different? I'm going to Florida, um, early February, end of January, and I'm excited to get out there because, the mics are open, the shows are open, and everything's open. But how's it going to be? The rest of the world isn't. And I'm wondering when it comes back on. I mean, do you think that there's going to be a lot of people that have dropped out of comedy? Do you feel like it's going to kind of go to an equal playing field because nobody's really been doing it?
Where are you going?
In Florida,
Yeah.
I'm going around the Delray Beach area.
What club?
I'm not sure
Or like,
which clubs yet, but I think there's a lot of bar shows that are set up, but nothing like booked solid. But my buddy out there, I'm staying. I think you know my buddy Jimmy Schubert.
yeah, Jimmy's,
Yeah,
yep.
so I'm gonna go. So Jimmy and I have been friends for like 10 years. So I'm gonna go out there. He's setting me up a bunch of spots, and we're just just to get back on stage. you know.
That, first of all, you're taking the riskiest route. You're going to the bar shows where they have really good COVID protocol over there.
Well, that's why
Um,
I'm not scared. I take it. You saw me. I wasn't scared at all. I was like, whatever.
I'm joking. The bar shows, these guys would throw margarita and fucking margarita in his beard along with fecal.
Yeah, exactly.
How do I think comedy's gonna look? I think that he has a couple questions. I think that uh, I don't know. I mean, like, there's actually a McCurdy's, which
Hmm.
is one of the best clubs in the country in Florida, just closed. But they just closed because the attendance was low, and they said that we'll wait until things calm down to open up again. So that is one of my favorite clubs, and it's in a top club, an amazing, well run and owned. And if they close because of low attendance and they have such a rabid fan base,
Yeah.
then again it's just for a little bit of time, and they do everything so correctly. I don't know how it's going to look because certain things are open and certain things are closed, and it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously there's some, I've shared some links of some comedy clubs that I really like that were on the brink of going out of business. Obviously the big chains are hanging in there, but we'll see. And in terms, I don't know. I think comedy is going to be, it's going to be more virtual than people realize, and I think it's going to also be I've done some shows virtually. I've done some corporates virtually. It's not the same, but I think it's really going to be about growing your audience and your brand like it always has been. And it's
Yeah.
like you get in where you fit in. If you can go to a state and sell tickets and do it safely, boom. But I'm all about that. I'm about building my online. So do I
Absolutely.
think it's gonna do I think it's gonna even out? I don't know. It's just so, everything is like this. It's kind of like you got to make your own thing and
Yeah.
do it. Is it nice to try to get on the Tonight Show or a late night show to do a spot? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Is it as effective? Probably not. It's great and it's cool to be blessed, but you see everybody on the circuit in LA. You see open micers, you see people like me, and you see Chappelle, and you see everybody from the beginning to the top to the bottom, and so we're all just out there. You know, I mean, you
Yeah.
see it. I mean, our pool show was awesome. We had everybody,
Oh,
and
that was
I
so much fun.
it was so fun. And I think that it's not going to go away because it's the most needed thing, but the way it's distributed probably will be. But it's just not the same anymore. It's not like, oh, this is this, and you build up to this, and you get your guest spot, and then you try to get on a sitcom, and then sitcom needs a movie, and blah blah blah, and then or you build up your social media, and then it's a touring. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still going to be like that. It's going to be touring. It's going to be podcasting and online, and whatever audience you can build from there, then you tour. But I think you can set up shop more anywhere. You don't have to just rely on a specific place to do it. You can create your own show
Yeah.
in a field and sell tickets.
which is a kind of a positive thing, how it's kind of evolved in a way if you think about it.
Totally. You can set up your own thing on Eventbrite, sell tickets for $15, 200 people show up, bam, go to the next city. So
Like
I think that's awesome.
absolutely, and you haven't given so much power to the guys at the top. You're kind
Yeah.
of starting to strip that power away and keep it kind of where it is.
Yeah,
But
but it's all hands on deck. Everybody's going to you have to create it,
yep.
and that's why I think what you're doing is so good and what I want to do more of, because this is like people are getting to know you, they're talking to you, they're watching you, they're consuming you. Where's she going to be? Okay, she's going to be at the Pina Colada Hut in Delray Beach, 7 o'clock. 7, you go there, sell a couple of hoodies, boom, and go to the next one. But that's what I'm saying. That's how it is. It's good.
Right. No, that is true. And how do
Be
you
careful down there.
careful of careful of what?
Of of the of the vid. I know 2 comics that just came out of that area, not that area, but Florida, and they got it. But they
Oh,
were out. They were out partying.
yeah. And I mean the most common thing,
Florida's wide open.
yes, is I think it's taking your vitamins, the right vitamins, and then also just not touching your face. Like I know it's hard, but like I think people realize like how many times they touched their face when this started, right? And then now like you're more aware of it. Like you just don't.
Yeah.
If you have to touch your face, like grab the inside of your shirt and do it.
Or like you said earlier, don't touch your asshole and then your face.
Right. That's exactly right. So I think it's also, I think there's always things that are going to scare us. I mean, I had a friend I had lunch with and we were sitting outdoors and luckily it was a nice day. She's a little more concerned about the COVID than I am. I'm safe, but I'm not letting it paralyze me. She's more kind of hasn't done much, is getting lonely, yada, yada, yada. And I kind of explained to her, I said, you should still be careful because you don't want to spread it to other people and things of that sort. But I just got to tell you, you had a greater chance of dying driving to this restaurant than you do of dying from COVID. It's like just statistically proven. So just to kind of put it into perspective, where people,
If that is proven, that should be said more.
well,
I'm
it's
sure
not
that's true.
going to
It
be
should just
because it's profitable to keep people wanting to get a vaccine and being sick. And so garlic cures a lot of things too. But the book Garlic Cures was pulled off the shelves, I think in the 90s because of it. So if you look at the statistics for car accidents, the more people die in car accidents every year than have died of COVID. So there's my statistics right there.
wow.
So,
I'm not surprised at all. It's
right.
incredible. It's incredible that you just have to be reminded of this stuff. It's true.
So it's like, what is the risk you're willing to take? And like, for example, for Christmas, I have a 93-year-old grandmother and she's in a memory care old age home and she got COVID in April. Luckily we were so blessed, didn't even spike a fever, right?
Wow.
The only reason she found out she had it was because they tested her and they found out she had it and they wouldn't let her out of her room, but they didn't want to tell her because they didn't want to mess up her psyche. And finally she was like, why won't you let me out of my room? I don't understand what's going on. And so they finally had to tell her so she would understand. And then that's when she said, well, maybe I was tired. No, you're tired because you're not leaving your room. But we were able to bust her out. We took her to a crowded restaurant. She had the best time, but I'm telling you, wheeling in a 93-year-old elderly woman in the middle of COVID in a packed outdoor restaurant, like with tents, people were like, what the but no fear. And we knew she'd be okay. And second of all, she's 93 and could die. I didn't want her to miss her potentially last Christmas. And she's fine.
So
She's
wait,
negative.
did she beat it?
Yeah.
Did you wheel her out when she didn't have it?
Yeah, we just wheeled her out now. She had it back in April and we wheeled her out for
Oh, okay.
Christmas. So she got to
Thought you
spend
were like
Christmas.
wheeling her out when she was loaded with the
No.
Rona, and you're like, "Here you go, super spreader deluxe, right here." Blah.
I was like, herd immunity. Here we go.
I was like, we put a 93-year-old bomb right in the middle of the tent. There you go. Jesus. Well, that's no. You got to
But the
set that
most
up a
we
little
were,
differently.
we
We
were,
wheeled her out. She couldn't leave. We busted her ass out, threw her in the middle of the mall, and bam, infected that whole joint. That's what that sounded like.
you're like, what the? No, but we got up for Christmas, but it was hilarious watching the people's faces because they
Who?
didn't know. They were like, wow.
Well, 93, and if she beat it, yeah. I mean, like that's beautiful that you did that, and she should have a Christmas, and you know, I it's good to have that, and for her to have that zest. But she sounds like she has a zest, so she wants to go out.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel that were you around a lot of people at Christmas?
My
What
family,
it
like
within your group? Yeah.
8 to 10, yeah.
So
So,
you were in Colorado?
hmm
Yeah. So that is, as long as people stay within their group, I think that's okay.
yeah,
So
that's
how are the restaurants? Are they open out there?
so they closed for a while and then they opened up at 25% and then now they're at 50 and then they're going to keep going up. So it's getting at least a little more normal. But I came here, I escaped New York in April when this started getting really bad. And I came here and by mid-May, everything was open, restaurants were 100% capacity. It was like normal living. I would come back and I would talk to my friends in New York and I felt bad because I had such an amazing summer. Traveled everywhere, went and saw friends in their backyards, went to pools, like just kind of lived my life safely. But they were in a different environment in New York. So, but then when I came back this time, I was like, hold on a second. This is not the same state. They had locked it down a lot more. So hopefully
Was
it
there a lot of cases then in the summer?
was like, no, not really. But I think it went back
Hmm.
up. But hopefully this is the last time they're going to shut restaurants or schools or anything of that sort. We'll be
Is
on the.
that what? Let me ask you this. So, what do you think is going to happen? And I'll tell you my opinion. Do you think you think in June it's going to change?
Well, I don't think it'll be overnight. I think by June we're going to see a lot of normalcy. But again, I'm not a psychic. So this is just my opinion. Um, the vaccine is being rolled out more. They got rid of the guy that they were wanted out so bad. Whether they use this as to their advantage or not is irrelevant. We still don't know, what's going to happen. But they use this, and now he's gone, and now it's like, okay, we want to get the economy back up and running, and
Economy's killing it though.
just
Like
go
the
away.
stock market is record high.
But here's the thing. I've been talking to people, and I've have more people coming on the podcast to talk about this. The Fed is printing money like crazy.
Yes.
Rates are super low. The stock
Yes.
market's up. We've had
Yes.
riots. We've had this record high unemployment. Everything that should be pulling the market down. But the market has just been up, 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 up. And I've talked to finance people and I'm thinking, this is an illusion. This is not real. It's not real. There's some companies that are going up that are making a ton of money, like Amazon and Walmart and food companies. But it is an illusion that is about to blow up in our faces. Now, I don't say that to scare you. I say that as a positive thing because you eliminate the fear when you're prepared. So if you can educate yourself or get with your advisor to say, something's not right here, the stocks are totally goosed up, I want to take advantage of the downturn type thing. There's going to be a big buying opportunity. And I was talking to my brother just this morning and I just said, so it's going to go down. This can't continue like this. It's not based on reality anymore. So my thing would be is, put some cash away, and when it really goes down and kind of just evens out and adjusts, get in.
I mean, look, it could. I mean, well, I'm in, and I definitely think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. But there's also some things I like to say is that
Yeah.
some of those, some of the companies are getting so big that they're saying they are actually just pulling up the market. The printing is true, the rates are true, but Amazon has become such a behemoth, Apple such a behemoth, Tesla such a behemoth that they are pulling it up. But obviously it's overvalued. The unemployment thing is interesting because it's true, but it's also there's a lot of people that are making more money getting their check than having a job. Now, there's obviously a lot of jobs that you can't have right now, but how many people you know when they got that EBT, they went out, they bought edibles, they bought vaporizers, they weren't putting it away. A lot of people
No.
were partying. So, I know a couple people that were making more money without working. So that's a little bit of a half and half, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that could be it too. Yeah, they say that savings are up a little bit because people were either making more money, not spending as much going out. But that's the whole thing is like, when is this all gonna kind of
Here,
blow up?
here's what I think, though. I don't think. I mean, I don't think it's gonna go back to normal. I don't think it's
The
gonna go
world,
back to the way it was.
like the
Yeah, I
world of
think I
living.
I think it's shifted and it's gonna be. It was here and now it's here and it's gonna go maybe in the middle. So it's like, for instance, let's just look at movies. Are you dying to go to a movie theater?
No.
Exactly. And you're cool. Okay. You're cool. You're brave. You're smoking cigarettes out on Abercrombie and you're chill. Okay. And you're like, no. Okay. So if you don't want to go to a movie theater and you're much more open minded than a lot of people, who's going to go to a movie theater? So that's going to shift.
Yeah.
Okay. Schools. I hate to say it, but I think online learning is going to be way bigger, way bigger. And I
Oh,
think that movie theaters are gonna be like a hipster thing, like, "Hey man, you wanna go out to the cinema tonight?" Like Amoeba Records. And I think that comedy shows are gonna be like that too, or like how I said it. But I don't know if we're gonna have these mass gatherings as much as quickly as people think there is.
well, here's another perspective.
Online, 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 deliver, deliver, deliver.
But
That's my opinion.
here's another way to think about it. 1918, we had the Spanish flu, killed millions of people. What happened after that? It was like 2 years. People were wearing masks. So many people were dying. What happened after that is we had the Roaring Twenties, where people were drinking like crazy, dressed up, fucking each other, doing whatnot. So that could happen again too, to where people are just so suppressed that all of a sudden it becomes this wild sex orgy crazy party, like, I'm finally free, I'm gonna spend my money, I'm gonna bang a hooker, I'm gonna do cocaine. So it could be it could be that too.
That has that escalated very quickly from online learning. But geez, no, actually, there was an article written by like a UCLA economic professor. So I read that article about the new
Yeah,
Roaring Twenties.
right.
I listen. I think that can happen and will happen. What degree, I don't know, because you coop up people, they're gonna blast out. It's
Right.
just a question of what are we gonna have under control. I feel like we're going to get through this, but then there's the new strain. You have to understand this. 50% of the people don't want this vaccine or something within that.
Yeah.
50% of the people do not want this vaccine. Okay. That's just being said. Then you've got, like they say, oh, there's a new strain that is more contagious. And then they say there's something else. So I think they're going to keep hitting us with stuff. And I don't know who they are. But you know what I'm
I
saying?
think
So
we just have to turn off the news and go live life. Did you ever see that,
no,
the
I
meme?
agree. I do that. But the news is now permeating my little circle on Twitter. It's permeating my damn Instagram feed.
I
It's
know.
like, whoa, it just finds me.
Right? You really can't turn it off. It's constant. But how do you just think about this? So every time you read something that might scare you, just remember the best way to control the masses is to scare them, is to
A thousand
pound them
percent.
with fear. So don't give into it. Just live your life, because we all have an expiration date. We don't know when that date is. But do you want to live your life being like, oh, I'm so scared of this virus, and then I got whacked by a mobster. I mean, you just gotta live.
There you go. What's the plan? Hey, what do you think about online learning? I think it's going to go to cocaine, hookers. You jump very quickly. You go live your life or get killed by a mobster. Where did we? How did we get? Jesus.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's just. I think
No,
we're, but I
no,
just.
I agree. I agree. It's been to be fascinating, but like you said, like I am. I'm actually. I'm in a weird way like one of these people that have really taken advantage of the pandemic because how can I say that? I like when a year passes, I want to show all the things I did, but like
Yeah.
I'm a person that gets FOMO, you know what I mean? And like in LA, being a comedian, being an actor, being a comedian, just a comedian at this time with everybody out in the world, every person in the comedy can show up anywhere and podcast and Netflix and streaming. So it's like you gotta be in the mix and
Yeah.
every club being packed, every bar show being packed. So it's like that all just went. So the one thing is I didn't have any FOMO anymore because I knew no one could do anything.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, cool. And honestly, this has given me this perspective of I don't want to go on the road as much. I've been on the road for the last 20 years on and off, and I've seen every city, and I've been very fortunate. And now it's like, oh, cool. Let me redo my office and let me take care of that. Let me, like you said, get fiscally fit, try to figure out if these stocks I should sell or keep. Let me get fit, like, so I'm doing a lot of things I normally wouldn't do, and I'm actually smelling the roses and
Good.
it's nice. Yeah, and now it's kind of shifted my paradigm into I believe what all of us are doing is like, what are we going to do? We're going to do what we want to do because we want to do it. I think the bullshit layer has been lifted off from most of us. And like
Yeah.
just doing that show with you in Venice was like, why am I going to do this show? I had no FOMO. I knew I was going to do it because I knew that that was a great crowd and I wanted to feel that connection. And
Yeah.
and that was just a good show. And that's what shows have been like during COVID. They've been like good because people want to suck them down and we want to give them to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, it's also like it feels so. It's like I can't think of the word, but before it was just there. You could find a show, you could do a show, you could go to a show, and now it's rare. So you the value of it is almost increased. Like the
Uh,
experience of it. You're just happy to be there. Where before you'd be like, oh, I hope all these people are funny, or I hope this audience laughs at us. It was more of a higher expectation where I think people have just kind of are more in the moment and don't have an expectation. They're just happy to be the hell out of the house.
yeah, it really that there is a level of gratitude that I've felt during this, and I think probably all of us have felt. I mean, I'm just you're grateful. I mean, the starting would be to breathe with all this
Yeah.
stuff, and then you're grateful for each thing that comes in. I mean, because all the stuff that's happening, I think is I'm in a I am in a very fortunate position, and it shows me to look at my life and what I value and what I don't, and I hopefully that's one thing that's come out of it for all of us.
Well, yeah, what's more important and what's not. I mean, if I had to make a prediction, I think that more money will be spent on travel and less money.
How though? If I agree with that, but how are you going to be able to do it if you need that passport?
Well, there's a lot of things that are illegal,
Road tripping.
road tripping, but there's also a lot of things in this world that are illegal,
Wow.
but somehow you get your hands on them. So, I don't know. Maybe there's an underground black market for fake COVID vaccinations. I'll let you know if I find one. You might have to goose them for 10 grand, but they'll go in and change your records. You're good to go. That's going to happen. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, because people are just not going to go overseas. They're just not. I think that people
Mhm.
are like, I need to see the world before my time is over. And I don't know when that's going to be. So I think that's going to be a big thing. And then I think that luxury goods might they're going to be there, but I don't think they're going to be, that market's going to go up as much. I think it would go down because I think people are realizing, like, what's the point of having these really expensive handbags or these great, hooker shoes when nobody could see them anyways and the world could end. I want to go and, to Israel or go to Ireland or something, That's just my opinion. I think travel shows are going to blow up. I could be wrong, but I'm following my gut.
That's true about the luxury items. I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned that in this pandemic that, you don't need much
You
to
don't?
survive, and we have a lot of excess, and there's a lot of people that need. And I think, there's more. The world could be more harmonious if it was evened out.
Oh, for sure. And I think people realize that they can go longer without haircuts. You know,
Hmm.
there's just certain things that are, because you took away at the beginning of the pandemic, you took away all the nail salons and the hair salons and Botox, and people were freaking out. But then they realized that life was fine. I mean, the selfies on Instagram definitely went down a little bit. You remember that? Like April,
They
May?
did.
Yeah. People weren't taking as many selfies. It was hilarious.
Oh, because they couldn't get beautified.
Right.
Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah. We
I
live in
didn't
a
really.
small world.
I know, Jesus, it's so shallow. It's, but I do think like if you don't come out of this with a better understanding of it, then I don't know, then it's lost on you. I mean, there's so much better.
Well,
There's
it's,
like you said, self-reflection is
yeah.
big here.
And I think it's just life. We all come into this world, and some are given different, like, a leg up a little bit and some aren't, but it's
Hmm.
still up to you at the end of the day what you're going to do with it.
I know.
So it's a choice. You can either be depressed or happy, or you can be, not that depression's a choice, but you can either decide to just lay around and watch Netflix all day, or you can get out and take a hike. The choice is yours,
Yeah,
whatever's good for you.
I do feel that you have to get out. You have to. People have to go out and take in the nature. That does seem to feel better. And just even if it's walking around your neighborhood and try to get those 5, 10,000 steps.
Yeah,
Um,
the fresh air.
ha, are you just so sorry to interview you, but where did you come up in the New York scene or the LA scene?
New York.
You did.
Hmm.
Okay, and then you came out here.
Yeah, so I've lived in New York. I've been in there when COVID happened. I left my apartment, escaped, came back, realized New York had totally just, it became like kind of a shithole and just very sad. And so I realized, I'm like, I don't own my apartment. I'm just gonna put all my shit in storage, and then when I have to come back, get a cheaper place, or I'll go elsewhere. So I'm here with family, just kind of hanging out in the meantime. And it's great because I feel like when opportunity strikes, and it could happen at any moment, I'm like, I'll be there tomorrow. Got nothing
How
holding
long were you there for?
15 years.
You gave up an apartment after 15 years?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was very happy to see it go. Trust me. Change is good.
No, I know, it's amazing, but it's like so many people, a lot of people have done that in LA, and they just uprooted. I think the number one business to be in right now is the storage business.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, so that, yeah, in New York is completely, I haven't, that was the last normal show I did. I came back the night the NBA, I
Okay.
did the stand the night the NBA was shut down is I did a show
Oh,
at the stand.
March.
Yeah, and that was my last normal comedy club show. And then I came back and it was quieter, but it was still New York. But now I'm hearing it's a ghost town.
Yeah. It's just not the
Wow.
same, and it's kind of, but it's funny because, I mean, not funny. It's sad that, I'll look at the real estate prices just to kind of see what's going on in different cities. Like I'll check LA and I'll check New York and Atlanta and Florida, and every day, I mean, a nice one bedroom in a luxury high rise in Manhattan, like a really nice building that was new, 34 to 3,700 bucks, just standard, right? You can get a 1 bedroom in a luxury high-rise building for like 2,200.
In Manhattan now.
Uh-huh.
So it's gone down. That's what I know. The deals are
Significantly.
there. And the question is though, I was thinking that what's around it to take advantage of those deals? Like, are people there? Are things open? Can you get food? Can you do, like, if there's no activities, why go there, right?
Well, they're not, and I think they're going to come down even more. But that's why I was okay with my decision, because it was, if I had to go back to New York, well, now I'm going to live in a brand new building with paying 1,000 less a month.
So when you go back, you're saying, yeah.
But now I'm just going to save it. So I don't know. It just, I'm at that point where wherever I need to be, I will be. But I gave
Hmm.
up and got rid of so much stuff before I put
I
things
know.
in storage. I feel so great. And I've realized that I'm happier with the less shit I own.
Yeah, they call that the COVID clean out.
Yeah. I
I
don't need,
did that
I
too.
barely had anything.
I know, minimum, I'm with you. Less is more. I purge it all. I gotten rid of a lot of stuff too, and I've gone to Goodwill. Goodwill always closes at like 2:30 every day, or
Oh,
the Salvation Army, because they're getting overloaded, which is good. I mean,
yeah.
helping. Hopefully, it goes to the right places. But yeah, I think people have done that, and I think that's really good that you've done that because it feels better, right?
It does. But that leads a question for you.
Yes.
Everybody's leaving California. Are you staying, leaving? There's a mass
I
exodus
know
out of
how
there.
many. A lot of people have left, huh?
New York and LA and California have the biggest exoduses.
Um, I no way. I love LA. LA
Oh,
is my
okay.
home. I've been here since I'm, you know, eight, 18 years old. You know, I just this is my home. I love it. I actually look what you're saying is I love Venice and I would like to find something there because I love that area, even though there's some tough stuff going on down there right now.
Yeah.
But California is always going to be a jewel, to me,
Oh,
and
it's
and I think,
beautiful.
yeah, and I think New York is too, and I think, like you said, it's actually opportunity now. But I mean, look, it depends on what's going to happen in terms of the taxes and
Yeah.
all of this stuff. But to be real, I feel like I've been stretching my legs more because there's not nearly as much traffic.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more land. Like people are
It's true.
there are things are more. I mean, it's sad. I want to do a video, like there's things on Melrose that are just making my soul hurt, that are boarded up, that it just shouldn't be boarded up. But I love LA. It's my home. I can never see myself leaving unless something crazy happens, but I could see myself having a little escape pod somewhere else. Like I did used to have a place in Vegas too, but I sold it. But I like Vegas, but Vegas is completely shut down.
I know.
So
Well, you mentioned the things about the taxes, and I lived in New York. It was my home for 15 years, but I'll never go back permanently because of the taxes. What I would do is get a place there and just make sure I'm there less than 6 months. And then that way you can have a lower tax base. So that might be something that a lot of Californians are going to do too, if the taxes go as high as they think they're predicted to go, because you don't want to let go of such a beautiful state and beautiful place nature wise. Um, so Vegas might be or Texas, or someplace you kind of make your base just for now, while the taxes are up.
I mean, look, here's what it is. I love LA. It depends on how much it changes, but I don't see me ever leaving. But
Yeah.
I do look. I love Florida, but do I want to live there full time? No.
Right.
I you know
Yeah, me
I
too.
I love downtown Denver. Do I want to live there full time? No. But
Right.
like that food market and that whole scene is so dope.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places I like, but this is like my zen den. But
You gotta
who
stay what makes
knows?
you happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if more and more and more things happen, then who knows? But like, I mean, I never thought of. I mean, I love Hawaii, but do I want it to be full time? No way.
Right.
It's like, so I don't know. But it depends. You're right. If taxes get so crazy and they price you out, then who knows? Maybe I'll end up going to Denver.
Well, that's the thing too
Do
is
you have a spare room?
we got three of them. We got plenty of room, more the merrier. But here's the thing too is if you were being taxed 62% of your income, is that insane to you? I mean, that's
1,000% insane. I
right.
feel
That's
like though
going to happen.
but I feel like I have a lot of loopholes.
Okay,
Like
good.
I feel like, see, here's what it is. I'm in the business, and then obviously the comedy business for now has changed because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of departures and closures at the moment. We'll see what happens. Um, but like I said, if productions change and there's nothing being shot here anymore, if you don't have to go to Paramount to audition or meet someone, that could affect things. But yes, if I make $100 and 62 of it is gone, plus like agent and manager fees, then obviously that's something to look at. But I always feel like I have a lot of tax loopholes because I have such a weird life. You know what I mean? So I have write-offs, I
Of
have
course, yeah.
losses, I have, business that, may operate in a profit or take a loss and it pays off. So I always feel like my taxes are always kind of all over the place. And
Yeah.
it's just a number. If I know what I made, and then the take home number is good, then I'd be happy. But they are saying it's going to drastically change. So let's see. But I know I definitely have a lot of write-offs, but who
Yeah.
knows?
I mean, this year I was, talking to my financial advisor and, CPA, and it was this sheer panic of, I'm feeling positive and I know I'm going to have a very great, successful year. I just know it because I'm in control now. And the taxes are going up and, I'm freaking out. How do I basically not pay taxes? And there's a lot of things you can do. If you're
Yeah,
very successful, you can, create a lot of tax shelters and things that are legal, a defined benefit plan versus 401k, because you can put a lot more in there. And so it's interesting how people are going to start getting creative. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. I don't want to get arrested, but I was just thinking,
Jesus.
no, I'm just saying, I'm just saying creativity, right? You have your own business and then you got, let's say you live with your girlfriend or boyfriend. You wouldn't be spouse because it'd be under the same tax bracket, but you could be like, oh, hey, I'm going to hire you as a consultant and I'm going to give you 200 grand a year. Here's the catch. You don't have to do any work, but you just have to pay all the bills. It's another way to do it. You get rid.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can do it. Nobody can really say anything.
There's a lot of stuff. So I think that, that number has to be looked at. Obviously it's been being talked about. It's going to happen, and we'll see. But like, talk to me April 16th, and I'll let you know. I could be like, Madison, I'm out of here.
Yeah, well,
Cincinnati.
it won't. I don't know. Do you do most of your work 1099, right? Like they pay your company?
I have no. Yeah, I have a company, and so they pay. They never pay me. They always pay my corporation.
You won't really feel it then until next April because this April was
Yeah,
for this previous year.
yeah.
So I think it's the next April. But you know what you could do too to not have the taxes hurt quite as bad is just make so much money that you're like, fuck it. It's another way to do it.
Yeah, but also people that are making a lot of money left too, like big businesses. So that's something to
Come on.
be said. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
well,
there's a lot of,
absolutely. Yeah.
so
They
then you
might
have to
keep their
wonder about that.
Yeah, they might keep their other places. But for me, I mean, I can tell you that I'm done paying New York City tax and New York State tax. Like, it was so much going out that I'm like, is this worth it? I can still live in New York and enjoy New York without having to get hit because I'll just spend a limited time there.
I think we're in the world where everybody likes to be mobile, and
Yeah.
depending on how mobile we can be now, I agree. I think I'll always have my base here in LA, but I do like other places. But again, it's like home is where your heart is, and my heart is still here. So hopefully
Yeah.
my heart will I love the state. I love California. I love
Well,
that
it's
it makes
beautiful.
you, yes, and I love that this is where dreams happen. And
Yeah.
it's been great for me, and I just love it. But I hopefully it won't turn into the things that people are saying.
I know. It's such a crapshoot. You just don't know.
Yeah,
But you can only focus and on what you can control.
it's true. That's another thing it's taught us. We'll just go and do the things that you can do, and then you know, day by day. I
Yeah.
don't know. This turned into a goddamn sobriety Zoom.
No, I know I did, right? Um, what was it? What's a question I wanted to ask you before we wrap? But I don't know. This might be a deeper discussion. But you're in a film that's coming out, or is it still being filmed? The Roe v Wade.
How do you know about that?
It was on your website.
I'm in that. Yes, I am.
So when is that coming out?
Um, Damn, we filmed it 2 years ago. It
Okay.
was supposed to come out last year, and then it got pushed because of all this stuff. So it's probably going to come out, I would say, in the spring of this year, probably April or May, and
Okay.
it'll probably stream. It'll probably be on one of the streamers.
But there was a lot
Um,
of controversy around that.
Tons of controversy.
Can you get into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the movie it's called Roe v. Wade, so it's about the decision of Roe versus Wade and a lot of the machinations behind it. And I play Larry Later, who's kind of the inventor, or he's one of the main proponents of Planned Parenthood, and that's just a historical fact. Larry Later was one of the big people behind Planned Parenthood, and he was under the guise of a woman by the name of Margaret Sanger.
Oh,
And Margaret Sanger is like one of the OG feminists. Um, but the movie was getting a lot of press. A lot of it probably skewed a little negative, which it shouldn't have, because there's a lot of actors that politics are known for them.
yeah.
Um, and when the movie comes out and I got to do press, it's like I'm gonna say my piece. I'm not political, but it's just because they lean to the right in the movie doesn't mean it's a right leaning movie. But there's definitely stuff in it that people are gonna not like. I mean, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that shows that my character made Planned Parenthood, and there's a lot of financial gain by
Yeah.
opening it, and a lot of stuff like that wasn't exactly good. And it's about a doctor named Bernard Nathanson, who's a real guy, and it's based off of Bernard Nathanson, who was an abortion doctor, and then he kind of had a divine intervention moment. It was like, I can't do this anymore, and he went through all the statistics and why he changed his tune on it. And it's a very, very slippery slope, and a very you know polarizing subject. And it's but the film takes on that, and what is what is the line, what is the right, who has the right, what is the truth, and so on and so forth. And again, it's like one of those conversations that you talk about. If you say anything one way, you're this, and it's like there's nuance in the
Yeah.
conversation. So it's like,
Right.
I mean, and as being a guy and a white male and all this stuff, it's like my opinion is like that. So, but I mean, if you want it, I'll give it to you. But
Well, when you got that role, were you nervous to take it because it was such a polarizing film, or were you excited because it was a great role, but also I think it's important that people are entitled to their own opinions, but we also need the truth. You need the hard facts behind what something is and what it is to then make up your own opinion. But that had to have
well,
been nerve-wracking.
the first thing I would say is, what's the truth anymore? I mean, the truth is, almost. subject, right? I mean, unless you have to literally, like, you hold an avocado and go, this is an avocado. Literally, people are going, no, it's a tangerine. You're like, no, that's an avocado. That is an avocado. You're seeing an avocado. But I mean, so people are like, the truth is so skewed now. But so here's an example. Like, I was reading for, some show, I want to say like Major Crimes or something on like TNT
Okay.
for like a guest spot. And it was like a great role. And it was like 8 people in the room. And to me, I've done so much in my career. It's like, yeah, Jamie Kennedy, you want him or not, But
Yeah.
I'll go in there and I'll do the dance. And I didn't get this role, and I was like, what do I got to do? Like, it's just a guest spot. And then this movie, has John Voight. It has, all of these different actors, Corbin Burnson, all these different people that have had these storied careers, and they just offered me this role. They're like, you'd be great, and it's a great role. I'm playing an older person. I look different.
Yeah.
I have some makeup on. It's like a character role. So I jumped at the chance. I was,
Yeah.
and very well, I was paid very well. And they were like, we love you for this. We think you're great for this. And they were fans. So I was very appreciative.
Yeah.
And, I've been able to work with John before in a couple other movies. And, he's the highest caliber of actor we have,
Oh, he's
whatever you believe in his politics or your politics doesn't matter. That I know the man. He's an amazing man. He's a gentleman, and he's a passionate man, and he's an upstanding man.
yeah.
And he's an amazing actor, just amazing.
Yeah.
And so, whatever his politics are, that's his beliefs, and that's fine. And
Right. It should matter.
there's people in that film like Stacey Dash, and people label her, but she's also a great actress. Joey Lawrence. But everyone has their own politics. It's not a bunch of people like sitting together and like having a meeting, going like, no, we're all different. There's gay, straight, black, white. Everyone's in the movie. But
Yeah.
was I worried 2.5 years ago? Yes. Am I less worried now? Yes, because I just don't give as much of an F as I did. I think that the business is completely fragmented, like we were talking about earlier, and I think that people are going to consume what they're going to consume. And if you breathe the wrong way now, people are labeling you, and canceling and all this stuff. So it's just too much. It's just like, look, man, acting is acting. I'm an actor. I took a job. If you hate
Right.
it, so be it.
No, well, I'm excited to see it. You'll have to let me know when it comes out.
I would love to. I will definitely tell you. And look, it's going to be polarizing. You know what I mean? But it is whatever people believe. Like I said, I'm not a woman, so it's harder for me to give my opinion. I have my own beliefs, but when it's the first thing and foremost, it's a woman. But there's a lot of gray area in that.
Yeah, right. And I think a lot of people need to kind of realize how it started and what we could do differently. Yeah, it's a very, very touchy subject, and people seem to jump to conclusions when you say the word abortion or Roe v. Wade or something. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I have to ask him about that. What else is on the docket for you coming up?
I have a special. It's called Stupid Smart. That's on Tubi, Amazon, Pluto. It's streaming. That
Okay.
came out in May. I got that movie coming out. I have another movie that was announced yesterday, but in the middle of all this stuff,
Oh,
called
nice.
Last Call. That's coming out in like April. IFC picked it up. It's
Nice.
Taryn Manning and Jeremy Piven and Bruce Dern, and you know, and then I do a show called Kennedy's Court. It's on Tubi now. That was an older show that got picked up. So
Yeah, I remember that.
other stuff I was gonna do. I do my podcast. I release it on Spotify and iTunes. I try to put out one a week. And other than that, any new projects, I'm waiting because of this. But
Yeah.
they can just find me on my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, and just
Which is all
search me.
Jamie Kennedy at Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy or the Jamie Kennedy. Yeah, pretty hard. Blue check mark.
Okay, perfect. And what's your podcast called so they can quickly find it?
Hate to break it to you,
Love
with
it.
Jamie Kennedy.
Love it. Well, yeah, you guys definitely check that out. And Jamie, thank you so much for talking. We kind of covered everything,
Gee, I know we went all over.
which was good.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me, man, and I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Oh my gosh, of course. And you guys listening, wherever you are, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Next to Madison. And we'll see you next time to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.